Welcome to the next in our study of cities of the Bible. Today we're again looking at two cities. One, perhaps the most famous city in the Bible, that of Jerusalem, and the other, Joppa. First to Jerusalem. When David became king of Judah, one of his first acts was to capture Jerusalem from the Jebusites and make the city the capital of his kingdom. 2 Samuel chapter 5 and verses 6 to 10, also 1 Chronicles chapter 11 and verses 4 to 9. The city served from that point on as the religious and political capital of the Jewish nation. Jerusalem was a good choice as a capital city site. Easy to defend because of its hilltop location, it was also centrally located between the northern and southern tribes of the nation. David's first task as king was to unite these tribes under his leadership. This is probably at least one of the reasons why he selected Jerusalem as his capital. Jerusalem grew into a magnificent city under Solomon. David's son and successor, Solomon built the temple as the place of worship for the Israelites. 1 Kings chapter 6 and chapter 7, also 2 Chronicles chapters 3 and 4. He also planted many vineyards, orchards, and gardens to beautify the city. Several centuries after Solomon's time, in 586 BC, the Babylonians destroyed Jerusalem and carried its inhabitants into captivity. Although the temple and the city and its surrounding walls were rebuilt by the returning Jewish exiles some time later, Jerusalem was not restored to its previous splendor. This task, ironically, fell to Herod the Great, the Roman ruler of Palestine, about the time of Jesus. He restored the temple to its previous state in an attempt to appease the Jewish people, and also built several other beautiful buildings in Jerusalem. This building program continued throughout the period of Jesus' public ministry. The Holy City played a significant role in the life and ministry of Jesus. At the age of 12, he went to Jerusalem, where he amazed the temple leaders with his wisdom and knowledge. Luke chapter 2 and verse 47. At the close of his public ministry, he was crucified, buried, and resurrected at Jerusalem. As Jesus had predicted in Matthew chapter 23 and verses 37 to 39, the city of Jerusalem was destroyed in AD 70, when the Jewish people rebelled against Roman authority. Rome eventually built a city on the site, but it was considered off-limits for the Jews. This situation changed in 1919, when Israel regained its status as a Jewish nation, and Jerusalem was re-established as its capital city. After the reinstatement of Israel, many Jews throughout the world moved back to their homeland. Most of these Jews settled in a new city west of the old city of Jerusalem. Following the Arab-Israeli War of 1948-1949, the new city was allotted to the Jews, while the old city remained in Muslim hands. But Israel reunited Jerusalem during the Six-Day War of 1967, when it took control of the Muslim section of the city. The modern visitor to the city is impressed with the stark contrast between the old city section, with its crooked, narrow streets, and the modern architecture of the new city section of Jerusalem. One of the most popular tourist sites in Jerusalem is known as Gordon's Calvary, a rocky knoll just outside the walls of the old city, identified by Charles Gordon in 1885 as the site of Jesus' crucifixion. This rock formation does not seem to resemble a skull. The Hebrew word for Calvary is Golgotha, which means place of a skull. Mark 15:22. However, another possible location of the crucifixion site is found at the Church of the Sepulchre, inside the walls of the old city. Jerusalem, of course, is revered as a holy city by three world religions: Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. Now to the city of Joppa. The modern city of Jaffa, a suburb of Tel Aviv in Israel, is located on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea, about midway between the northern and southern borders of the country. In Bible times, the city was called Joppa, a name that means beautiful. This city is first mentioned in the Bible as a portion of the land allotted to the tribe of Dan. In later years, the prophet Jonah tried to escape his call to preach to the city of Nineveh by going to Joppa to catch a ship bound for Tarshish. Jonah chapter 1 and verse 3. Joppa was the only natural harbour on the Mediterranean Sea between Egypt and Acco, or Ptolemais, north of Mount Carmel. It served as a maritime shipping centre for the inland city of Jerusalem in both Old and New Testament times. Solomon's temple at Jerusalem was built in part with cedar logs from Phoenicia. These were floated on rafts from the forests of Lebanon to Joppa, where they were hauled by land to the temple site. 2 Chronicles chapter 2 and verse 16. Two New Testament personalities are connected with Joppa. The city was the home of Tabitha, or Dorcas, Acts chapter 9 in verses 36 to 43. After Tabitha was restored to life by Simon Peter, many people believed on the Lord. Simon the tanner also lived at Joppa, Acts chapter 10 and verse 32. While praying on the roof of Simon's house, Simon Peter received his famous vision of a sheet descending from heaven, Acts chapter 10 and verse 9 to 22. This vision led Peter to the conviction that God is not one to show partiality, but in every nation the man who fears him and does what is right is welcome to him. Acts chapter 10 and verse 34 and 35. From then on, Peter preached the gospel of Christ to Gentiles, as well as to his own Jewish countrymen. Thanks very much.